It is that time of the year where the first race of a brand new Formula One season has come and gone, and usually it would excite me and you at home to maybe delve into some F1 gaming, but this year I reckon this mod is going to give us more entertainment than the actual first race of the season. This is of course the F1 24 season mod for the current Formula One game, beautifully made by the guys at Venturi Creative Studios. For the first time in Formula One history, there are no driver changes, so the focus is all on these brand new cars. But we've got that beautiful, striking new look for Scuderia Ferrari, the half return to the silver arrows, that faded silver to black to the back. We've got the very overweight and paint-stripping Alpine team here in the game. A much more sleek and mean-looking McLaren F1 car that has started the season in a much better shape than it has done in previous seasons gone by. A brand new name on the grid. It's Stake F1 Kick Sauber with their striking neon green livery. Aston Martin with a very similar look to last season, with Aramco featuring more prominently. Haas with a very similar look as well, evolving their car with the black, white and red. A very different look and name for the AlphaTauri team. It is now Visa Cash App RB F1 team. And finally, we have got Williams with plenty of sponsors on the car, which is always good to see. And on top of all these visual mods, I've gone in and done some performance modding to try and match the grid as close as we can to what we saw in that opening round. We've got a race coming up at Jeddah. I'll be driving as Lewis Hamilton from the back of the grid, but it's Max Verstappen P1, no surprise there, but Carlos Sainz alongside him on the front row, continuing his good form from Bahrain from last season. Then comes Perez, Russell P4, Lando P5 with Leclerc in P6. Then comes Piastri and Fernando Alonso in the same row, and rounding out the top 10 is Nico Hülkenberg and Lance Stroll. So we've got the performances very closely matched actually to real life. Albon and then Zhou Guanyu, the first Kick F1 team driver, and then it's a all row of the Visa Cash App RBs, followed by Kevin Magnussen, Ocon, Bottas, Gasly, and then at the back it's Logan Sargent and myself. We're driving as Lewis Hamilton from the back of the grid and trying to see how far up the order we can go. But yeah, if I don't say so myself, I think I did a pretty okay job with that performance modding. You know, the top 10 especially, I was quite happy to get Hülkenberg in there, but then you saw Magnussen a little bit lower. You saw the two Visa Cash App RBs close together. Albon just outside the top 10, and Piastri, Alonso close together, Lando, Leclerc close together, Russell, Sainz, Perez close together. So yeah, I think it actually ends up pretty damn nicely as this little preview race here at Jeddah. And that's not all. A final other additional mod is we have got a cheeky little reshade mod, and its job is to try and make the colors and the lighting just a little bit more like a real life Formula One onboard camera. So altogether, these three mods will hopefully make it seem like a very different game as we go to 5 red lights. The 2024 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix is underway, and we're going to immediately get past the very slow and overweight Alpine car of Pierre Gasly, dive it down the inside of Ocon, and our old teammate Valtteri Bottas, who's now driving a very green Kick Sauber car, and we actually lose a position to Ocon trying to jockey for position with the flying fin. But we get up into P17, and now all about trying to settle down into a rhythm in Sector 1 and let the car and race come towards us. We've got 5 laps here. This is just a little preview basically of this season mod, but how far up the order can we go? I'm hoping we can try and aim for almost where Russell is, P6, as he's in a McLaren sandwich of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri as we close up to Esteban Ocon. Let's hope we have no overheating issues like the IRL Mercedes cars did in the Bahrain Grand Prix. And can we actually dive down the inside of Ocon here, because we know the Alpine is slow, it's heavy, it's cumbersome. So it's a real easy dive down the inside, and now we've got some clean air to chase after. Well, it's a packed tail ended by Kevin Magnussen, then the two Visa Cash App RBs of Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Joe, Albon. It looks like it's actually a train all the way up to Stroll, and then Hülkenberg who's leading it. Then there's that slight gap you can see on the mini-map. So definitely all of these cars in this Hülkenberg train, I think are definitely up for grabs here, as Magnussen actually having a look at Ricciardo. K-Mag and Ricciardo making some contact. We're going to catch Magnussen napping a little bit to get down the inside there. He was looking to make the move on the RB car. But we're now in prime position to out-drag Ricciardo as we go to turn 1. We're going to do the kind of classic Hamilton defensive move after he makes an overtake and kind of weave a little bit just to defend the inside line before coming back to the racing line, and now tucked up right behind this second RB car of Tsunoda. Can we get to the inside? We'll try it. We'll try it. Ooh, very, very close. And Tsunoda, well, going off Bahrain's probably going to be shouting some massive expletives at us from the cockpit there for really squeezing him out, but needs must as we want to get into this pocket of clean air to chase after that second kick Sauber of the night here in Jeddah. He's tucked up behind Alexander Albon. There's a little gap, then Stroll and Hulkenberg very much still locked in to a bit of a DRS train battle here around the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Meanwhile, up the road, you can see Verstappen still leads. It's a checkerboard of Red Bull and Ferrari then, as Leclerc is jumped up ahead of Lando Norris for P4. Perez still yet to get that overtake done on Carlos Sainz, but I'm sure it's pretty much inevitable with the Red Bull performance in 2024 as we try and just focus now on our race to get into the points for the first time in this race, maybe as we look to maybe get P12 and 11 in one foul swoop, maybe as we go for the move on Zhou Guanyu. We're trying to get a bit of a tow from Albon, but Zhou is still giving us a bit of a fight as we make a bit of contact. The hand of anger went up in our cockpit, and we actually have to wait until after the final corner to really get onto the back of Alexander Albon, but now we're gaining on him, and we're going to use Stroll to pull ourselves in. He's having a go at Hulkenberg. We're still having to defend against the Williams car, and it was 4 abreast into turn 1. Already, this mod has produced much better racing than what we saw in real life. We had a 4-wide moment there. Haas, Williams, Mercedes, Aston Martin into turn 1, and we got basically a triple overtake done because we are still having to actually fully overtake Albon there, as well as Hulkenberg and Lance Stroll. Meanwhile, up the road, we're now chasing after this pack, which is the real, present top 10. You've got a train led by Lando Norris, Russell, Piastri, Alonso behind. Then the top 4, top 3, P2 to P4 together of Sainz, Perez, and Leclerc. And then, of course, Max Verstappen in his own kind of level. He's absolutely at one and zen with that Red Bull car. Sergio Perez struggling to match him a little bit, but can he at least get the second place for his sake and maybe Helmut Marko's sake, as he's probably fighting to keep his Red Bull seat this season, you would say. Carlos Sainz doing well in second place right now, but here comes that straight line speed pace of the Red Bull as Perez gets into second. Sainz doesn't even put up much of a fight, and instead Leclerc might actually have a go at him. So we saw this Ferrari v Ferrari at Bahrain, and we're going to get it right here at Jeddah with this 24 mod as well, as Leclerc, as we ride on board with him now, closing up to Carlos Sainz. I love the Ferrari look this season. The onboard, the sponsors they've got this year on the top of the chassis. I've said it already, the overall car from the off-board shots with the yellow and white lines as well. Lovely, lovely Ferrari this season, and with this mod as well, made very, very tidy. But yeah, it's Ferrari 3-4. Then you've got Lando Norris in P5. Russell's keeping him honest, so our teammate keeping the McLaren very, very honest indeed, and very similar to what we saw in the real-life Bahrain Grand Prix. Piastri then behind in P7. Alonso fighting to drag his Aston Martin car into some more points, but at the moment P8's the best he can get, and it might get worse because we're now closing up to him. Stroll just about managing to hang on to P10, but Albon's close behind as we see Zhou Guanyu fighting Tsunoda there as the kick Sauber is going to get overtaken by the RB car, I think that was, but we have no time to focus on that because we're focusing back on our own fight as we go back into the POV of our car as Lewis Hamilton chasing after Fernando Alonso. You can see that rain light blinking, so we're harvesting ERS, and now we're going to deploy it here at this moment in time as we're tucked up behind Fernando Alonso. DRS is going to be available to us, and actually, to be fair, we don't actually have too much ERS left. I've already turned it off because we only have 1% left of battery. So in quite a funny way, I've actually mimicked Hamilton in Bahrain. Remember, he complained on the radio about being down to 1%. I got down to 1% when I needed the battery the most to overtake Fernando, and I actually wanted to get on the back of one of the McLarens. They're too busy fighting each other. We saw this in Bahrain as well. Norris and Piastri getting very close for comfort as Norris just about is going to squeeze him out. Piastri nearly makes another attempt at a move, and he actually undoes me a little little bit because I was tempted to make a move on Piastri. So, you know, the two McLarens fighting so hard has actually made it more difficult for me to make a confident move there. So, in many uncanny ways, I don't want to toot my horn too much, but I think the performance modding and just the way the race has worked out, we've actually got a very, you know, like-for-like race here in Jeddah, you know? The two McLarens closely fighting, the two Ferraris closely fighting. We're down to 1% battery with Hamilton. Yeah, no, it's pretty damn good, but is there one final twist in the tail? It will be for the Ferraris, because Leclerc has managed to get past Carlos Sainz, so it won't match what we saw in Bahrain exactly. It'll be Leclerc who manages to get to third place, but you would say by the time we get to Jeddah in real life, the hope is Leclerc solves those locking up brake issues, as instead of attacking the McLarens, I'm looking behind me, because Alonso's got a great run. I've got no battery whatsoever, and instead we're left a bit frustrated that we can't make at least one overtake on one McLaren. So it'll be Russell leading across the line from Norris, Piastri, and ourselves as Lewis Hamilton. But from the back of the grid, in obviously what is touted as a very close midfield, and it was pretty damn close in this race, you know, from last place, that's a pretty decent effort, I would say. And like I said, overall, I'm actually really happy with how the race panned out with the performance mod. I think, you know, the only thing you're kind of not getting is Verstappen being miles ahead of Perez. You know, it was actually an unbelievably close finish, a photo finish of only 700ths of a second from Perez to Verstappen. So, if anything, this performance mod's better than real life because it's at least giving us that close fight that we're longing for between at least teammates of the Red Bull pair. But if you guys have enjoyed this video, then be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And you know what? I enjoyed this race a lot. This was a lot of fun. So I'm going to say here, if you're still watching at this point in the video, hit the like button. And if we get to, I'm going to say, 3.5k likes, I will consider doing an F1 24 mod career mode. And let me know down below in the comments what team you think I should do this mod career mode with this season mod, the performance mod, the reshade mod. Yeah, let me know in the comments below and hit that like button if you want to see that happen. But till then, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.